The Apriorian Union, TAU, is an association of the reborn who are dissatisfied with the liberalization of Christianity, the failure of conventional churches to fulfill the Great Commission in a verifiable and methodical way, and feel a need to separate and come out of her, as we are instructed to by God. The Apriorian Union was developed as a way out of this demonic system of filth and corruption. It is a system which the far right is deeply embedded and which the right generally appears to lack the tools to deal with. In fact, a large swath of the right appears as committed to maintaining Babylon in the face of God's wrath. Political parties, businesses, and even religious organizations have proven they do not only lack the tools needed to combat the anti-white racism, whiteophobia, fatophobia, hatred of those who have faith, they do not have the spiritual zeal God requires in His servants. This leaves the faithful in a desperate search for allies. When political leaders, business leaders, and religious leaders are all part of a ruling elite who consistently engage in acts that validate Babylon in preference to the remnant still faithful, the faithful are left struggling to find a voice in this wasteland of inequity. Liberal churches flying flags commemorating the homosexual lifestyle, governments systematically and often vindictively attacking their core constituents, and businesses that identify with minor sectors of the economy drive home the organized nature of the campaign against the Christian religion. When these kinds of targeted assaults happen, the media is usually on top of it. Many of us are children of the 60s and have memories of the civil rights campaigns when white people in the footsteps of their abolitionist ancestors fought fiercely for equal rights for black people. Naively we thought blacks and Jewish persons and even people from Europe might remember the sacrifices Britons, Americans, Canadians and other Commonwealth nations made in their interests. But such was not the case. The French in Canada, blacks and natives saw the attacks by Western nations against their Christian populations an indication that now was the time to swoop in and grab the spoils of war. With the media against us, there were only the voices on social media. Many of these were silenced, voices without number were harangued, victimized, banned, shouted down and removed from the public square one way or the other. Even the exuberant if rowdy patriot Don Cherry was fired for telling Torontonians they ought to wear a poppy. A route was prevented by Jordan Peterson refusing to accede to subjective appellations being foisted onto the staff of Toronto University. After a couple of years, the right is making some headway against the tide of skeptical apathy that pervades the left. With the purchase of Twitter by Elon Musk and a continued willingness to fight the madness by that indomitable patriot Donald Trump, a few victories are seen here and there. A few woke are waking up, but the right is scattered, and with the political imprisonment of the January 6th and Freedom Rally protesters, the path forward is uncertain. All of us talk about science as a source of facts if not truth. Facts are propositions derived from induction or observation. Facts are reality related in that they strive to be consistent with observation. It is a fact that men smoke. It is a fact that obesity is a growing problem. Reducing calories does not reduce obesity is not a fact because it is not observed, but it is a truth because one can derive that from knowing what obesity, calories reduce mean. Truths are analytical, facts are synthetic. Science develops facts as propositions, but logical reasoning provides us with truth. But we have become conditioned by a system that prioritizes facts over truths. It is a fact that the speed limit is 60 miles per hour and that if you break the law you will be penalized by the justice system. It is a fact that a person can define their gender. It is a fact that there is no scientific evidence for God, in the sense of conclusive proof. It is a fact that science does not search for truth, but facts. A fact is always contingent, probabilistic, and relative. There is no absolute truth in science. There is no such thing as an absolute and unassailable fact. It is a fact that there are no facts that cannot be questioned, doubted, or challenged. It is not a fact that science has proved its foundational assumption that an autonomous physical reality exists. Nor is it a fact that reality can be known absolutely, through the methodology of science. Science establishes facts, but facts are not truths. A person cannot have faith in facts as they are always provisional propositions subject to doubt and error. In fact, since no amount of observation will lead to one deduction but there are always competing hypotheses, the inductive method cannot lead to faith. What is more, the inductive method only leads to emotional attachments as there is no known pathway to absolute certainty or verification using the inductive method. Every decision made by liberals will ultimately be based on emotional responses to the data. But as emotions cannot defeat the emotions of others nor provide sufficient facts to defeat the hypotheticals of other liberals, doubt and adjustments and conciliation will be the virtues of a liberal society. Which leaves liberals with nothing but their feelings and a draconian legal system. Where there is nothing but feelings and doubt, there is no route to maintaining order but an ethical legal system backed up by a fascist state that owns and controls everything. Liberal Progressive Derangement Syndrome, LPDS, equals 1. The playing out of the history of man. 2. A progressive disease that leads to a break with reality. 3. A disease marked by the use of phenomenology, the inductive method, and skepticism leading to widespread doubt and compromise with the facts, which ultimately leads to a compromise and break with reality itself. There is no fact-based route to faith. Facts, by their nature and their adoption, leads to doubt. Doubt and faith cannot exist. Indeed, in liberalism the only thing one can embrace absolutely, without compromise, is doubt. Now Christians are taught that the only thing we can have faith in is God. In fact, faith is generally expressed as belief in God. However, it is unlikely anyone has as much faith in God as Satan. So it seems to me faith means more than the intellectual acknowledgement of his existence or even trust in his supreme ability to do what he says he will do. To have faith in God and doubt about everything else is not possible. We come to God through others, and we can only do this if we trust them. It truly takes a community to make a Christian. But politics, economics, and even the church have been taken over by liberal skepticism and mockers. So, we need an absolutism that does not involve liberal institutions. It is easy to see the rough outline of such an absolutist regime, as we have already rejected the political, economic, and religious arenas. We have done this because the three evils, the political, economic, and religious arenas, are evil for a reason. They are unbiblical for a reason. The three evils do not express faith. They are grounded in liberal rules and administrative hierarchies. Because they are rule-based and impose administrative hierarchies on their members, they create externalities. Union equals 1. A faith-based system. 2. An organization based on trust in which each person pledges not to impose their cost onto their fellow man. 3. The biblical church. In short, unions are for those with faith who wish to live in faith. Unions are what the Bible refers to as a church. But churches have adopted the same organization style as religions. A union is a sign of faith in those with whom we unite. It is also an indication of whom or what we have faith in. Labor unions are a demonstration of faith with those with whom one works and shares a trade with. This ought not just be looked at as a way to earn money. Trade unions represent a path to autonomy or freedom from implicit slavery. The Apriorian Union is a union of unions, a meta-union whose mission it is to bring people to faith in terms of their occupation and way of helping their neighbor. Bringing a person to faith is to bring them into a unity with their brethren. A community is as strong as its union membership.